In all honesty, I wasn't too surprised to find out Japan is covered in highways. And I don't mean those modern monstrosities that define the word concrete. I'm talking about Japan's forgotten highways. Highways of a time long gone, when all people had to get around on with their own 2 feet. When people were all but forced to take the slow route. Okay, sure, Japan is an ancient country. It's not too much of a stretch for an ancient country to have ancient pathways. But when I actually went and explored these pathways, I found out that there was quite a lot more to the story. And it involves an extremely odd connection to Osaka Castle, Shinjuku and the Shinkansen, and of course the mountains here in Yamagata Prefecture. So if you think your boss is a micromanager, try this on for size. Way back in the 16th century, samurai and daimyo, feudal lord Toyotomi Hideyoshi, one of the great unifiers of Japan, made a law where the wives and heirs of his daimyo were forced to reside in or around Osaka Castle. The motivation for doing this was quite simple. It was just to maintain their loyalty, and it worked. It worked so well, in fact, that the custom passed on to the shogun in the later centuries, right up until the collapse of the Tokugawa shogunate in 1868. During the Edo period, the shogunate established the Sankin Kwotai system of governance, whereby the daimyo living throughout Japan spent 1 year in their own fiefs and 1 year in the de facto capital at the time, which was Edo, the place that we know these days as Tokyo. To make matters worse, the shogun took a leaf straight out of Toyotomi Hideyoshi's book. On the surface, only getting to see your loved ones a year at a time sounds like the stuff of nightmares, but don't worry, it wasn't that bad. Before long, the shogun established a series of routes linking Edo with the daimyo's fiefs, in a process that linked multiple thousand-year-old trails to Nihonbashi in central Edo. 5 routes were chosen to become the official Gokaido, the official Edo Five Routes. There were 2 routes that linked Edo and Kyoto. The first one was the TOKAIDO, which went to the south of Fujisan and means the East Sea Route as it went along the coast of the Pacific Ocean. The second route was the Nakasendo, which went through the mountains of Honshu all the way to Kyoto. Avid train fans and non-fans alike may recognize the word Tokaido as, yes, this was the origin of the Tokaido Shinkansen, Japan's first bullet train. There's yet another connection to the Shinkansen bullet trains. The KOSHU Kaido, which led to Kai province in modern-day Yamanashi Prefecture, was pivotal in the establishment of Shinjuku City and of course Shinjuku Station, the world's busiest railway station. One of the KOSHU Kaido's first post towns was the newly established Shin post town Juku of Shinjuku. The Nikko Kaido connected Edo with Nikko Toshogu in present-day Tochigi Prefecture, the shrine dedicated to Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate. Interestingly, there was a samurai lord named Matsudaira Masatsuna. Along the Nikko Kaido, Matsudaira planted thousands upon thousands of trees and established the longest tree-lined avenue in the world, the Cedar Avenue of Nikko. I touched upon this while introducing the pyramids of Japan, but the path north to Mutsu province, current-day Fukushima Prefecture, was known as the Oshu Kaido. The Oshu Kaido split into a few different sub-routes, including the Sendai-do, which led to, you guessed it, Sendai, and the Ushu Kaido that went through Yamagata and Akita prefectures, and the Matsumae Kaido, which went through Miyagi and Iwate. Both the Ushu Kaido and the Matsumae Kaido led all the way up to Aomori Prefecture, but the Matsumae Kaido went even further, going all the way to Hakodate in Hokkaido. And this meant that the Oshu Kaido was, in fact, the longest of the Edo Five Routes. These routes made it much easier for the daimyo to communicate with Edo, and it also meant that they could spend some quality time with their beloved shogun. Wives. And this is where the shogun took micromanaging to yet another level, but in a good way this time. The shogun made strict rules, not only dictating the width of the roads, but also where to place the trees to keep those walking the routes cool as well. In addition, post towns called shukuba, situated between 7 and 10 kilometers apart, provided accommodation and meals along the routes. There were even regulations for the number of horses to be kept in each of these shukuba. So anyone was allowed to use these routes, but there were a number of checkpoints called SEKISHO along the way, and only certain people were allowed to pass through these checkpoints. The people that were able to pass through these checkpoints were the daimyo, of course, and their servants, aka samurai, as well as some craftsmen and some merchants. But there was also one notable exception. If you had one of these, a white jacket for spiritual pilgrimages, you too were able to pass through the checkpoints. These jackets acted as a sort of passport for those on the journey to spiritual locations, such as the Kumano Kodo, Mount Fuji, or in the case of this one, the DEWA SANZAN in Yamagata. And these stamps that you can see here are shrines and temples that I have visited. This was the origin for the Goshuincho stamp books that are commonly found in temples and shrines in Japan. These days it seems that the majority of the Edo Five Routes are either covered in roads or rails. I know that there are parts of the Nakasendo which are still intact that you can hike. I was wondering whether there was anything closer to home, especially on the longest of the Edo Five Routes, the Oshu Kaido. So Yamagata Prefecture is home to Route 7 and Route 13. Route 13 was actually home to a mountain which was historically one of the hardest parts of the Ushu Kaido. And this mountain is called Sabane-yama. And Sabane-yama is one of the 100 famous mountains of Yamagata, which is the perfect opportunity for me to go and check it out. However, Sabane-yama is not exactly a tough mountain to climb. In fact, at only 160 meters of elevation, Sabane-yama isn't actually what we would call a mountain in English. And these days you can actually pass through Sabane-yama in a mere matter of seconds thanks to the invention of cars and the Funagata and Sabane-yama tunnels. Yet for the likes of Matsuo Basho, Japan's most famous haiku poet, Isabella Bird, for example, the English woman who came here in 1878, or samurai, for example, Kiwakawa Hachiro, a local samurai, or the countless daimyo, the Ushu Kaido and Sabane-yama in particular was one of the most difficult parts of the journey from the northern Tohoku region all the way down to Edo. And so I went to go and check out the Ushu Kaido as it would have been 150 years ago, and it was quite an amazing hike, as you'll see. So the highlight of the mountain has got to be Jizodo, which is a Soto sect Zen temple located right near the summit. And from Jizodo, you get really good views of the Mogami River, as well as the surrounding mountains, for example, Mount Gasan or Mount Sabane-yama. It was really cool. I would definitely recommend checking this place out, and you can actually drive there as well. It's just above the botanical gardens. It's a really good place to stop in and do a bit of zazen. And also they had a soba restaurant next door, run by the monks, in fact. Jizodo is certainly a destination in and of itself, but I was there to get to the summit of Sabane-yama, but unfortunately I needed to have my Yamabushi wits about me to get there, as the summit was covered in bush, as you'll soon see. Alright, so I just walked past the temple. It's a Zen sect, Soto sect Zen temple, and I talked to the lady and she said that the summit was up in the bush, so you have to climb through the bush to get there, and it's just there. Alright. I have the trail that someone else took up to get up there on my phone, so I might have to look at that, but I can't see much way of getting up there. I think I might just have to force it. That's not too bad. There we go. What's this? Kam Katsubo Ken Hoken Hoan Bayashi. What's this like? Oh, here we go. Oh, here it is. Found it. Alright. So, this is the summit. Yeah, that's the marker that marks the summit. So I guess I should do the rituals. It's hard to appreciate just how important the ancient roads of Japan were when you're traveling on them at the speed limit, but Sabane-yama to me was the perfect reminder of why every once in a while we should slow down and take the slow route. For more information about Sabane-yama and the ancient highways of Japan, please check out my website, timbunting.com/sabane. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Kakitiano.
Hanya Haramita Jishoke